part of our spiritual growth and evolution while we are here is understanding the different lives that we live in front of other people. So we have the life that we show in public. This is the type of person that we are when we meet new people, because we basically want people to like us, accept us, acknowledge us, work with us, want us in their life. There is something that we will want. So we portray a public image. And we can keep that public image for a lifetime. We can always be that way when we're around public people. That's the kind of people, when you meet work colleagues or you meet somebody, when you first meet somebody that you're going to go into a relationship with, maybe as a friend or as a romantic partner, you will create this person that is to impress. You're there to impress other people. You want to be liked. And as you go on, even though you're still doing that, as you get older, a lot of older people no longer have that need to impress somebody else. They're very comfortable within themselves. But they will still portray some form of public appearance. Then you have the side of you that's, once you've got to know someone, you're comfortable with them, and then you'll start to show things that you would never show in public. So that comes down to maybe you burp, like you finished your meal and you burp outwardly, which would be something that you would never do in public. But once you are with, you're around family and you're comfortable with them, and you're, or a close friend or something like that, you're comfortable to do that. Or you could have, you might have like some bad habits, or you might swear a lot more around your own family members than you ever would when you're out in public. So there's that side of you. And when you're starting to get to know somebody, it usually takes about 3 months. It's about 3 months and being in their company constantly for about that 3 months, where you really start to get to know somebody. Even if you're texting somebody, if you haven't actually met them yet face to face, but you can tell after, if you were texting each other every single day for 3 months, you'll start to see the texts change. They will start to divulge more information to you that they wouldn't have prior, because what's happening is they're forming a trust, and they can feel that, okay, you're not going to judge me if I share this little bit about you, about myself. So that sort of starts to open up. So then you have that side of yourself. And then you also have a very, very secretive side that nobody knows about but you. These are your thoughts. These can be any kind of thoughts. They are yours and yours only. And these thoughts are not shared with other people. You can also have habits that you don't share with other people. You could have some form of addiction that you don't share with other people. It's very, very secretive. And part of growing is to not be afraid of those secretive thoughts and being more vulnerable. I often find that people will share things with me that they won't tell their partner, or they won't tell family members, because I'm not going to judge them. They need to share something with somebody, but they don't want to be judged. And if you share with a family member, you quite often feel as though they're going to judge you, or they want to fix things. And I particularly found this when I was just a young teenager. I just started high school. I had a relative of mine that was sexually abusing me. And it went on for a little while. Now, I was a very, I would say, very naive, shy, quiet girl. And I had an incredible fear that if I told adults in my life what was going on, they would blame me. Like, because they would blame me and say that you should have said something, you should have done this, like I was at fault in some way. And I also just had this incredible fear that they were going to make a judgment about me. And another fear I had is they were going to talk about it. They were going to talk about it, and I would have to remember it all again, like, because I was trying to block it out. So by talking about it, I'd have to bring all those emotions back up again, and I just didn't want to do that. So I never said anything at all. And I went right through, I was way into my adulthood. And before I could even, like, I remember telling my dad, and my dad's, because I was like a grown woman, mother and everything, before I had the courage to tell my dad what had happened to me. And he said to me, why didn't you say something at the time? And I said, I felt like you, as my dad, would have gone round there and belted the crap out of the guy, and then it would have made a big mess in the family, and then I would have divided the family. And he said, that's how I would have reacted. And I said, I know. Even as a young child, I knew how my father would have reacted. So I chose to keep the peace in the family. You know, and I used to sit at functions, family functions, and listen to people in the family praising this guy in the family as a nice guy. And I would just sit there and think, none of you know, you don't know. That was his secret side. That was the secret side of him that nobody in the family, now he was a family member. Now, you know how we wear masks, you know, in public? We also wear masks within our own family. And we have these secret sides to us. And we keep them secret because we don't want to be judged. Imagine, I think of it from his point of view. He obviously had some issues within himself, mentally issues, or he had this overwhelming sexual need, and which he couldn't find. And he found an outlet for that. But deep down, I know that he knew that was wrong. I know he knew it was wrong. So, because he kept it secret, if it wasn't wrong in his eyes, he wouldn't. The same as why people have, when they have affairs, they keep them secret because they know that it's wrong, and they don't want to be exposed. And then they're going to be judged, and then they're going to go back to there's already a low self-esteem there anyway. So by being exposed, you make yourself feel even lower than you already felt. And that's why people keep those things secret. And it's a lot easier to talk to a stranger than to talk to somebody that you know. And quite often when you're talking to somebody that you know, they want to fix it, don't they? Like with my dad, if I tell him things that happen to me, he wants to fix it because he loves me and he wants to fix things. But it's also my experience. It's something that I have to go through and I have to work through. And I often think to myself, you know, these things happen to me a lot, especially as a young girl. I was not only sexually assaulted by him, I went to a concert, you know, like a music concert, and the crowd went pushing forward and I got dragged over the rails. Like, you know, you get crushed against the rails, and so there was security guards that were pulling young girls over the rails so that we didn't get our ribs crushed. And this ambulance officer took me out the back and lured me, I was 12, he lured me to a bus and was trying to kiss me and fondle me. And this was an ambulance officer. I was 12 or 13 or something like that. I was with my girlfriends, but I got separated from them because I got pulled over the rails. So it happened, and even like when I first started my first job, I was 16 years old when I started my first job, and there was a 28-year-old married man there that was also giving me lots and lots of attention. It was just a constant thing, and I never told anybody. I thought there was something wrong with me. As I got older and sort of started to understand more about spirituality and the way we are with our personalities, I thought to myself, I may have in a previous lifetime raped another person, or was sexually abused another person in my previous life or lifetimes, and this lifetime I decided to be on the other end of that experience, to understand now what it feels like to be on the other end of it. So that also helps me to not want to be a victim. I don't want to be, oh, you poor thing, that happened to. I don't want to feel that way. I want to understand that now my soul has that experience of being on that end of it. And I'm, in a way, I'm understanding also of the perpetrators and what problems they have in their own life. So, but yeah, you when you meet people, you see the side of them that they want to show you. And you could look at someone and go, they are a great person, and yet when they're home with their family, they could be very domineering, they could be very bossy, they could be very narcissistic, and they have trained all the people in the home to do anything to keep the peace, because they are the ones that just upset absolutely everything, and they just want to keep the peace. So when family, friends and everyone comes over, it can look like this great little happy family unit, but once the visitors have left, it can turn into absolute chaos. And there recently was that guy in America who is a pastor who does a lot of positive talking, and everyone, he had a huge following. And then he had a wife who was pregnant with their twins. And when she was 8 months pregnant, there happened to be a video that got leaked, because she's now divorcing him. I can't even think of his name. She's now divorcing him because of his behaviour towards her. And there was a video, like a video, the camera that videos the backyard. And there's a scene in there where he is just absolutely abusing her, telling her that she needs to do wifely things, she needs to cater to his needs. And if you can find the video, it's very confronting on how a narcissist treats somebody. Yet he had this massive following of people that thought he was a really great guy. And even after this video came out, and there's actual proof of the way that he treats his wife, there is still people defending him, his behaviour, saying, oh, well, you don't know the full story. She might be a certain way, because we never know what happens behind closed doors, do we? You think you can know, but you really don't know. And I, even in my job, I have seen families that you see pictures of them all over social media, and they look like the most happiest of families. And then I've got one of the partners constantly emailing me with all the problems that are going on. But that's just something so private to them. They can't share it, because if they share it, then they feel judged. And the worst thing is, why do we do that to people? Why do we laugh at people that are going through really tough times? If you saw, even if you saw like an influencer who's created this imaginary fake lifestyle online, that it looks great and they're traveling everywhere, and then all of a sudden something happens and they get caught out, or they get caught in a lie, people are so quick to shoot them down without understanding why did they have to create that in the first place? What have we done in a society where we reward this behavior of creating a fakeness? And then when we are vulnerable, and we say, look, this happened to me, and sometimes it works where you get a lot of caring people, and other times it's people just want to shoot you down. It's a bit of like the tall poppy syndrome, isn't it? They can't wait to shoot you down if you were portraying as being a certain way, and then they find out you're not that way. Rather than saying, I'm really glad I get to see this side of you as well, there can be that nastiness that comes out in people because they want to see other people fail. So, but if you look at your own life, you'll notice for yourself that you have the you that you show to the world, the personality that you show to the world. And then you'll know the you that's a little bit more open with your closest family members and your closest friends and those that you trust. There's a different you. And then you'll have that very, very private you, the part of you that has your thoughts, the thoughts that nobody else is going to ever know, some habits that only you know that you have, and that's just for you. And it's how we all are. It's very rare that you find somebody that shares their private thoughts and shares absolutely everything about themselves. And that usually comes from a fear of judgment. So yeah, drop a comment below if that resonates with you at all. And I hope everyone has a lovely day. Or 1st of May. Oh my goodness, it's May already. Have a lovely day.